I'm just glad I have the time. She's keeping us in. One for the time, we don't want to be service. Possibly make. Okay, here we go. All right, welcome everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Today is Monday, May 8th. It's the regular city commission meeting. If I get a roll call from Deputy City Clerk Latanya Harris, please.
Commissioner Mercer. Here. Commissioner Yates.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Birdsong.
Here.
And Mayor Densler.
Here. Our invocation tonight will be led by Pastor Charles Rich from Grace Lutheran Church. And our Pledge of Allegiance and presentation of the flag will be handled by Boy Scout Troop 565. Please stand to fable.
I want to publicly commend our city manager, T. Michael Stavers. A week and a half ago, he attended a gathering of local pastors here, and he shared with us the pillars of the vision that you, the city commission, have set for us. He helped us be supported and aligned with those goals so we can all work together to accomplish them. And now for our prayer. I'm a Christian pastor offering a Christian prayer. Understand there's differing beliefs among us, and I ask each of us in your own hearts to ask God for some divine assistance. Let us pray. Lord God, maker of heaven and earth, and to whom all lives are eternally bound, we come at the beginning of this meeting in humble prayer, confident that you not only desire to hear our prayers, but also that by your divine will and mercy, you promise to answer them. We thank you for those who've been elected or appointed to the special role of government and are now entrusted with a position of authority. We ask your divine blessings to be upon each of them. For our national and state leaders, and especially these city leaders present here this evening, guide them by your Spirit, that they may be wise in their counsel and deliberations, firm in good resolutions, and persevering amidst criticism and adversity, that under them this city of Winter Haven may be cared for, and our residents governed rightly and honorably. We implore you to watch over all of our city employees, volunteers, those who will be carrying out the decisions made this evening, and those who carry out the decisions of previous meetings and commissions, from waste collection and tax assessment and disbursement of this community's monies, from those who inspect and enforce regulations to those who abide by them, from those who protect our streets to those who care for the victims harmed on them, and for those who work for the good mental health of all of us. Give each of these servants of our community a good spirit and a joyful heart, that they may be diligent in their service and good stewards of the city's resources. And Lord God, we pray that your Spirit would move in the hearts of all of us as citizens today. Grant each of us present here a readiness to share the burdens of our community, a willingness to seek and embrace solutions to our social problems, and a spirit of cooperation to work together for the common good. By your grace, O Lord, enable all of us to give and receive forgiveness for our failures in the past, to resist and overcome with good any evil temptations that might be lurking among us, and help us to do what is pleasing to you and most beneficial to the people of this community, including the benefit of the lakes and the land and the creatures and resources you've entrusted to our care, so we have good drinking water for many years to come. And hear us for the sake of your Son, the Lord Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with you in the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen. Amen.
Color guard advance. Color guard halt. May the audience please join me in this pledge of allegiance. Scouts salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
two. Color guard may post the colors. Audience may be seated. Color guard dismissed.
All right, thank you, Boy Scout Troop 565. Okay, we've got two proclamations tonight. First one's going to be on Mental Health Awareness Month. Morgan Wilson will be receiving that, who is a mental health coordinator in public safety. And then we have a second proclamation on Drinking Water Week. And the water plants manager, Steve Ward, will be receiving that. So commissioners, if you guys want to join us down, first one will be Mental Health Awareness Month. Morgan?
All right. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Commissioners. Our proclamation this evening reads as follows. Whereas Winter Haven, Florida, as part of a global community, strives to be the best city through the relentless pursuit of excellence. And whereas mental health is foundational to a community's overall health and well-being. And whereas 1 in 5 Americans experience a mental health problem in any given year. And whereas approximately 1/2 of chronic mental illness begins by the age of 14. And 3/4 by age 24. And whereas suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States and the 2nd leading cause among young adults, and 90% of people who die by suicide have an underlying mental disorder. And whereas addressing the complex mental health needs of children, adolescents, adults, and families through early identification and treatment is fundamental to the future of our community. And whereas every citizen can make a difference in helping end the silence and stigma that for too long has surrounded mental illness, discouraging people from getting help. And whereas Mental Health Awareness Month can foster public education and civic activities that encourage mental health and help improve the lives of individuals and families affected by mental disorders. Now, therefore, Bradley T. Dantzler, Mayor of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, does hereby proclaim May 2023 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the City of Winter Haven, and encourages all citizens to increase their awareness and understanding of mental illness, reduce stigma and discrimination, educate the public, and advocate for equal care. In witness whereof, he is hereunto set his hand and caused the seal of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, to be affixed this 8th day of May 2023. Signed, Bradley T. Dantzler, Mayor. Vanessa Castillo, City Clerk.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners. Our mental health impacts our daily lives, relationships, and overall well-being in many ways that are sometimes not immediately recognized, but that each of us can relate to. Despite its prevalence, there is still a significant stigma attached to talking about mental health, which prevents many people from seeking help. It is essential for communities to acknowledge the importance of mental health and to take action to break down the stigma. By doing so, we can make a supportive environment for those who are struggling with mental health issues and ensure they receive the support they need. As we strive to be the best city possible through relentless pursuit of excellence, local government can play a vital role in advocating for mental health, promoting awareness, allocating resources, ensuring access to services, and creating a supportive environment for people who are struggling. By proclaiming May as Mental Health Awareness Month, we are aligning closely with our city's values of integrity and inclusivity and taking this steps in the right direction. However, there is still much work that needs to be done, and I look forward to working with all of you as we recognize the importance of mental health in our community and work together to create a healthy and happier community.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, before we do the second presentation for drinking water, if you'd be so inclined, I'd like to bring troops, Boy Scout Troop 565 back up for a photo with the commission, since you had an opportunity to meet with them earlier. The scouts and the scout masters would like to come forward and do a photo. Several of them are working on a merit badge for their civic engagement and understanding this evening.
Look right here, count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Do one more. Good job.
Okay, guys, that's it.
Okay. Our next proclamation this evening is for drinking water. Drinking Water Week proclamation. I'm gonna ask Steve Warder, who is with the Winter Haven Water, to come forward to accept this one. Our proclamation reads, whereas water is our most valuable natural resource, and whereas drinking water serves a vital role in daily life, serving an essential purpose to health, hydration, and hygiene needs for the quality of life of our citizens to enjoy. And whereas tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, support for our economy, and the quality of life we enjoy. And whereas the hard work performed by the entire water sector, designing capital projects, operators ensuring the safety and quality of drinking water, or a member of a pipe crew maintaining the infrastructure communities rely on to transport high-quality drinking water from its source to consumers' taps. And whereas the coronavirus pandemic has shown a light on the importance of drinking water for health, hydration, and hygiene needs. And whereas we are all stewards of the water infrastructure upon which current and future generations depend. And whereas the citizens of our city are called upon to help protect our source waters from pollution, practice water conservation, and get involved with their water by familiarizing themselves with it. Now, therefore, Bradley T. Dantzler, Mayor of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, does hereby proclaim May 7th through the 13th, 2023 as Drinking Water Week in the City of Winter Haven. In witness whereof he is hereunto set his hand and cause the seal of the City of Winter Haven, Florida to be affixed this 8th day of May, 2023. Bradley T. Dantzler, Mayor. Attest Vanessa Castillo, City Clerk. And also we have Keely Carlton, who's also here with our Water Department. Keely, are you gonna have comments? Feel free to come forward with Steve as well. Mr. Warder.
Well, Steve doesn't want to say anything, but I'm Keely Carlton, the Water Program Administrator. I just want to thank all of the men and women who ensure our water supply daily, from the water that comes from the ground, the distribution system, and beyond. So thank you guys for recognizing this. And it was kind of cool too that this happened right after Water Conservation Month. I did kind of want to highlight something that is on the screens, that the whole state of Florida did recognize Water Conservation Month as well. Typically, it's picked up by our ag commissioner, but this year Ron DeSantis decided to take that on into the governor's office. So I just kind of wanted to highlight that some of the Winter Haven staff was a part of getting it that far. So thank you again to the men and women who ensure our water supply daily, though. So.
Agree. 1, 2, 3. One more.
Okay, we have no developments of note tonight. Minutes, commissioners, from the March 22nd, 2023 agenda review and the March 27th, 2023 regular city commission meetings are before you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
move approval of both sets of minutes.
thank you. We have a motion to approve both sets of minutes as presented. I'll close the city commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to this item, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Oh, you want to come up? All right, please come up, give us your name, address.
Hello, beautiful people. How you guys doing? You kids look awesome. I was telling the officer back there that I can remember the days when I was in those same uniform. You gotta keep striving and keep moving forward. So allow me to introduce myself. I am BG Garrett. I'm the owner of King Roofing and Construction of Polk County. State licensed general contractor and a state licensed roofing contractor. We've been in the city 10 years. My wife is from here. We met in Tallahassee, which is FAMU, the college that we went to, and we've been here since. Since inception of coming here, we have been pushing to get with the government officials about housing. That's a major entity, major passion of ours. Affordable housing. $350,000 is not affordable housing. People who work at Walmart, who go to work 40 hours, people who work regular jobs at 40 hours, they can't afford $400,000 for a home. And so I've been tasked from him, from the man upstairs, to appeal to whoever I need to appeal to for us to come together as a community and resolve, figure out how can we better put our community in a position where people who go to work can afford to own a home or able to afford to pay rent. I'm also a Pastor Rich here, our kids attend Grace Lutheran. You have the best school in Central Florida. That's a fact. That's not a fact for me. I think weren't you guys awarded that?
Good kids and good parents.
Thank you. I appreciate you. So yeah, you guys do a great job. We appreciate you guys. So getting back to my point. So I've been tasked to help figure out how do we come up with affordable housing? If we'll move forward on that in later days. I'm gonna say this in closing. I'm a mentor for a lot of kids in the environment, in the community. A lot of those kids are homeless. They're real deal homeless. They're at my house. We feed them. We house them sometimes. We clothe them if we have to. I'm intentional about helping our community with housing. If there's some grants out there that I'm not aware of, I would love to have a conversation. I know I've had conversations with some of you guys individually, some of the people here individually, but I am really and truly want to assist you guys. You guys do a great job. I should say that in the beginning. You guys do a great job. Let me say that one more time. You guys do a great job of governing the city. You guys do a great job of putting things in place. And so I'm just here, to voice my opinion on that. And if it's anything that you guys can assist me with to help the community, then I would really and truly appreciate it. But you guys keep up the good work. And in 10 years from now, I plan on being in one of those seats, if not sooner. But nevertheless, I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you guys are doing. And is there any feedback that you guys would care to share?
Not at this point.
What about you, ma'am? What about you, ma'am?
We have one project in affordable housing. Of course, naturally, we have devoted funding for affordable housing to continue.
Okay, so who do I need to speak with in reference to this moving forward?
Eric, I guess.
Beg your pardon?
Are you our affordable housing person?
Say, am I an affordable housing person?
Commissioners, we'll provide Mr. Garrett with the contact information before the meeting closes.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, sir.
You guys are awesome. Keep up the good work.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion passes. On to comments from the audience. We have nobody that signed up. Does anybody else like to speak? Please do so at this time. Seeing none, I will move on to ordinance second reading public hearing. This is item 9A on your agenda. This is an ordinance amending 1638. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-23-12, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, amending chapter 19 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, regarding interest on customer deposits relating to water, reuse water, sewer, refuse service, stormwater, and other municipal services accounts, by deleting the requirement to place any such deposits in interest-bearing accounts and allowing a non-dash interest-bearing account for such deposits and other related deposit provisions, making findings, providing for repeal of all conflicting ordinances, severability, codification, the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, we've had several discussions on this item and nothing has changed since it was presented for first reading. I just want to reiterate some comments that I made during the agenda review last week. The required deposit amount for our utility accounts has increased over time as the utility bills have also increased. So it runs kind of in tandem with that. The current average deposit is around $180, which provides an annual interest earning of about $1.50 over the course of a year. However, most of the deposits that we have within the system have been in place for many years longer than that and generally yield an annual earning of about 67 cents. Interest earnings are applied to a deposit or applied annually to the actual deposit amount and then refunded to the customer when the account is closed, absent the amount of the last payment. The purpose of the deposit is to help mitigate the amount of bad debt write-offs. And in September of 2010, Ordinance 1014 was passed, which requires the customer deposits be applied to the last bill once service is terminated. Prior to this, deposits were refunded after 2 years. That was a question the commission had. This has been a significant impact on change of that holding onto that deposit has been a significant benefit to us in reducing the amount of bad debt that we carry within those utility accounts. And as stated, the amount of work that it takes to manage those interest amounts and transfer those back to each individual account deposit is significant in comparison to the amount of earnings that it actually makes. So at this point, staff continues with the recommendation to approve ordinance 02312 relating to utility customer deposits in a non-interest bearing account going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
move approval of ordinance 02312, second reading, public hearing.
Thank you. We have motion to approve 02312. I'll close the city commission meeting, open a public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to this ordinance, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen city commission meeting. Commissioners, any questions or comments on this?
Just make a quick
Yes.
comment.
Mr. Yates.
We've gone back around on this topic several times. I do think it's prudent to circle back around and look at the potential of refunding these deposits after a 3-year positive pay history or some requirement thereof. I've reached out to other service providers and that's a similar practice that they're currently utilizing. And their rates of loss are minimal and really among some of the best in the nation. So I'll go along with this ordinance tonight, but I do think it would be prudent for us to revisit that. Because if it's a cost savings measure that we're looking at, I would tend to think that not only will we save funds in this direction, but we could save more funds than the potential of loss by unloading these deposits over a 3-4 year period of time. So just something I'd like us to look at further. in that respect.
Certainly, we can look within the water utilities and our colleagues to see what best management practices are there that we may be able to implement along those lines at a future date. This just the item this evening just pertains to the interest bearing aspect.
Anything else, commissioners? All right, all those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those like sign, motion passes. On to consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
move approval of the consent agenda in its entirety.
thank you. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda in its entirety. Close the public city commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to any item on the consent agenda, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Commissioners, any questions or comments on any item on the consent agenda? All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those like sign, motion passes. On to resolution R 2329. This is approving a public trust grant agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation. City Attorney, would you by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution R 23-29, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, authorizing the city manager and appropriate city officials to execute and to take all of the necessary actions regarding that certain public transportation grant agreement between the city of Winter Haven and the Florida Department of Transportation, FDOT, under contract number G2H30 and financial project number 452131-2-94-01 for funding for the design and construction of the digital remote air traffic control tower project at the Winter Haven Regional Airport, Gilbert Field, providing for severability, conflicts, and an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, this project includes the design and construction of a digital remote air traffic control tower on the Winter Haven Regional Airport that will be operated from a control center located at the Bartow Executive Airport. Hanson Professional Services has provided a task order to provide professional engineering and construction services for the installation of this digital remote air traffic control tower. The project includes tower location study, tower design, foundation design, utility design, construction administration, and construction engineering inspection and services. The project has an estimated total expense of $1,230,000. The Florida Department of Transportation has provided an initial funding amount of $500,000 at 100% participation. The remaining $730,000 is anticipated for 100% participation provided through a supplemental grant agreement from FDOT in July of this year, 2023. Staff recommends the City Commission approve Resolution R 2329, which approves the public transportation grant agreement with DOT and authorizes the city manager to execute the same and take all other necessary actions related thereto. So this resolution is specific to our grant agreement with DOT for the first tranche of $500,000 towards the overall project.
Got it. Okay, Commissioners.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
move approval of resolution R 2329.
thank you. I have a motion to approve R 2329. I'll close the City Commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public like to speak to this resolution, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and reopen the City Commission meeting. Commissioners, any questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those like sign, motion passes. 11B on your agenda is R 2330, comparing the Florida Department of FDOT Cypress Gardens Boulevard. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution R 23-30, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, supporting the Florida Department of Transportation Cypress Gardens Boulevard between First Street and Overlook project and establishing project priorities for funding by the Florida Department of Transportation and the Polk Transportation Planning Organization, making findings and providing an effective date. Thank you.
City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, in June of 2021, DOT and the city conducted a series of community workshops that focused on improving transportation in the Cypress Gardens Boulevard corridor between First Street and Overlook Drive. Through those community workshops, there was an outcome was a series of recommendations for improvements to consider as the design for this corridor. DOT is presently moving forward with design and is looking for formal support from the city to explore the concepts stemming from the community input sessions. This does not ensure any concepts will be implemented, just that the engineering and financial realities will be investigated. So staff is recommending City Commission approve Resolution R 2330. Again, at the end of the day, this takes those concepts that were generated through community input that was held at the Garden Center in 2021 and assigns them to DOT to further explore to see if they make sense financially and from a design standpoint as they move forward with designs.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
Move approval of resolution R 2330.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve R 2330. I'll close city commission meeting, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public want to speak to this, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, reopen the city commission meeting. Commissioners, any questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion passes. On the ordinance first reading, we'll not be voting on these tonight, but we'll just be hearing this information. This is 2308, an administrative request to revise the Winter Haven Code of Ordinance, Chapter 5. City Attorney, title only, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-23-08, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Winter Haven, Florida related to floodplain management by amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Winter Haven, Florida by making technical amendments relating to floodplain management to Chapter 5, Sections 5-21 and 5-23 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, revising Chapter 21, Article Roman numeral 5, Division 1 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Winter Haven, Florida relating to floodplain management, providing for applicability, repeal of conflicting ordinances and resolutions, the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, severability, and providing for an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
Mayor and Commissioners, the city's been an active participant in the National Flood Insurance Program since 1981, and in 2017, the city participated in the Community Rating System, or CRS program, under the administration of FEMA. Under the CRS program, insurance policyholders in the city are currently provided a 10% discount in their insurance policy premiums. A recent CRS audit indicated that certain provisions of the city's floodplain management ordinance require updating. Staff is prepared with assistance from the State Floodplain Management Office, an ordinance amending the floodplain management provisions of Ordinance O-1619. To fully implement these, let's see, back up for a second. So what we're going to recommend this evening is that these get moved forward for your second reading, which will happen in 2 weeks from tonight. The Planning Commission did approve these at their April 4th, 2023 regular meeting. They recommended approval of the changes to Chapter 21. They did not take action on the changes to Chapter 5 as they were not required to do so, and there were no public comments regarding this request. Thank you.
Commissioners, any questions, comments? Okay, we'll pick this up on May 22nd. 12B O-2313, a voluntary annexation of a parcel located at the southwest corner of intersection of Eloise Loop Road and West Eloise Loop. City Attorney, title only, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance, pardon me, number O-23-13, an ordinance extending the corporate limits of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, so as to include therein additional territory lying contiguous and adjacent to the present boundaries of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, describing said additional territory, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. General location, a parcel generally located at the southwest corner of the intersection of Eloise Loop Road and Westlake Eloise Drive. The area covered by this request is 1.07 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, as stated, this is just over 1 acre that's generally located at the corner of Eloise Loop and Westlake Eloise Drive in the southwest corner. As you can see from the image, petitioner seeking annexation in order to develop property in the city. Staff recommends that this advance to second reading.
Thank you. All right, we'll take this up on May 22nd. Next up, O-2314, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 3 of Section 2-69 through 2-71. City Attorney, read by title only, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-23-14, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, making findings and amending Chapter 2, Article Roman numeral 3, Sections 2-69 through 2-71 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Winter Haven, Florida, regarding the Airport Advisory Committee, repealing all ordinances and resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for severability, codification, the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, in 2016, the Commission adopted Ordinance 1607, reestablishing the Airport Advisory Committee and adopting updated and amended provisions. City staff is recommending that the Commission amend Chapter 2, Article 3, Sections 2-69 through 2-71 to revise certain criteria of the Airport Advisory Committee, which are set forth within the ordinance. Mainly, this pertains to the alternate member, the timing for meetings, and the absenteeism of any airport advisory committee board members. Staff's recommending that ordinance 23-14 be moved forward to second reading.
Thank you. Commissioners, questions? All right, 2317, request by Joshua Taylor to rezone 2 parcels from PUD zone district to commercial C4 heavy zoning district. City Attorney, title only, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-23-17, an ordinance amending chapter 21 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Winter Haven, Florida by rezoning 2 parcels from Plan Unit Development PUD zoning district to commercial heavy C4 zoning district, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date. General location, 3187 Wrecker Highway. The area covered with this request is 1.32 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
You, City Manager.
Mayor Commissioners, I'm going to ask Eric Labby to give you a high level overview on this one.
Sure, Mayor Commissioners. The subject property is a portion of a plan unit development that was adopted by ordinance O0810, which permits an outdoor contracting storage yard. The subject property is currently being used for an expansion of an automotive repair business adjacent to the west and a mobile home sales business. Both of these uses are currently violations of the PUD ordinance. Since the property has never developed as proposed in 2008, and to allow the current uses to come into compliance, the petitioner is requesting a rezoning to C4 to allow for continued use of the property. The future land use is industrial. Therefore, the maximum development potential does not change. Surrounding uses include automotive repair to the west, the CSX Railroad, and vacant land zoned R3 to the north, vacant land subject to the PUD previously mentioned, O0810 to the east, and vacant commercial land located in unincorporated Polk County. This particular item was heard at the Planning Commission on April 4th, 2023. They voted unanimously to recommend approval of these requests. Basically, it's bringing an existing business into compliance with the Land Development Code.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Okay, we will take this up on May 22nd. O-2320, this is item 12E on your agenda. This is a voluntary annexation of a parcel generally located south of Dundee Road. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-23-20, an ordinance extending the corporate limits of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, so as to include therein additional territory lying contiguous and adjacent to the present boundaries of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, describing said additional territory, repealing all ordinances in conflict with, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. General location, a parcel generally located south of Dundee Road, approximately 1,748 feet east of Overlook Drive Southeast, and approximately 108 feet north of Highway 550. The area covered by this request is 0.11 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager.
Mayor Commissioners, Regional Real Estate Management is requesting the city annex 0.11 plus or minus acres for the purpose of getting city utilities for the future development of a single family home. Staff recommends the city commission approve or advance ordinance O-2320 to second reading.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions on O-2320? All right, we will take this up in 2 weeks, May 22nd. Next up is O-2326. This is a voluntary annexation of a parcel generally located north of Thompson Nursery Road and west of Conservation Way. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-23-26, an ordinance extending the corporate limits of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, so as to include therein additional territory lying contiguous and adjacent to the present boundaries of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, describing said additional territory, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. General location, a parcel generally located north of Thompson Nursery Road and west of Conservation Way. The area covered by this request is 4.12 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
City Manager.
Mayor and Commissioners, the petitioner here is seeking annexation for the purpose of incorporating the property into the adjacent development located in the city. This will be one of 2 ordinances that are presented this evening on first reading, generally in the same location. Staff's recommending the city commission push O-2326 to second reading, which again is May 22nd.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions? All right, we'll take this up in 2 weeks. Next up is a voluntary annexation of a parcel generally located north of Thompson Nursery Road. City Attorney, would you read by title only, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ordinance number O-23-27, an ordinance extending the corporate limits of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, so as to include therein additional territory lying contiguous and adjacent to the present boundaries of the city of Winter Haven, Florida, describing said additional territory, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the administrative correction of scrivener's errors, and providing an effective date. General location, a parcel generally located north of Thompson Nursery Road and east of Conservation Way. The area covered by this request is 2.58 plus or minus acres. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, this is that second parcel which I just referenced, and staff recommends City Commission move ordinance 02327 to second reading for May 22nd.
Okay. We will take this up on May 22nd. Okay, we have no new business. For the good of the order, let's go to City Commission liaison reports. Commissioner Yates, why don't you lead us off?
Happy to. Just had the opportunity to attend a the town hall style meeting a couple weeks ago. That was put on by Southeastern University, I believe it was SEU. And where homelessness was discussed, and the students did a project and reached out to multiple city leaders and organizations throughout Winter Haven to have a worthwhile discussion regarding homelessness, and just wanted to commend the students for a great job that they did. The audience was very participated greatly, and a lot of good discussions and a lot of good notes I think were taken at that meeting. And that's something that I think we need to continue to work on, and I think that we are working on it. But homelessness is an issue in Winter Haven. It's not an issue that's going away. There's lots of different ways to solve those issues, and it takes a collaboration to get there. So work is progressing. Attended the Planning Commission meeting, also attended the Ritz board meeting, and attended the ribbon cutting for the Winter Haven High School CFAA. That's just, I have no doubt that is going to put us on the map for aviation, and the centers of influence that have seen what we're doing here in Winter Haven for these students. The fact that we have the digital control tower school coming online in Bartow, that's going to be a component of that as well. And you know, I certainly urge students to go to college, but college isn't the best path for every student. And I think that's something that's been proven time and time again. And when there's opportunities like this that have been created for these students, they can graduate high school with a pilot's license. They can graduate high school with a license to be a digital air traffic controller and walk right into a six-figure salary. And if that's the right path for that student, then that pathway needs to be available. And I think that we're on the right direction by starting this academy. So was super exciting to attend that ribbon cutting. I attended City Works. I was able to pop in and out during the 2 days of sessions. A lot of good information, a lot of good speakers there. Speaker at 1 o'clock on Thursday did a phenomenal job in just discussing housing prices and how we got to where we are today, and put it into terms I could understand. So it was definitely good attending that event and sharing that knowledge. So finally, sorry, one other thing, attended the downtown CRA meeting right before this meeting. They passed a couple of things that'll be coming before the CRA board here soon, and growth continues in Winter Haven. Finally, attended the services at JP Powell, and I think every speaker that spoke that day on Saturday at the service did a phenomenal job in remembering Commissioner Powell. And I know I'll miss him up here, and I hope the Powell family appreciated those services in the way that I know I did, and just remembering a colleague. With that, that's all I have.
Okay. Tracy?
I did attend the State of the County Polk County's vision. The increasing in housing, of course, traffic and all the resources that go with that. Somehow they're going to make that 1 million in probably 7 years and not 10. They said they're right now over 800,000 in the county. I also attended a chamber event. And then I apologize, but I missed a lot of the events in between because I had to fly to Ohio for a funeral. My niece passed away. And then I came back and on Friday I did attend City Works. I missed all the good parts on Thursday. Sorry about that. Also the grand opening on Saturday of the Polk County Government Center and Northeast Center. They had made the remarks, they were looking at 10 acres and they bought 30. So they have a lot of room for expansion in the Northeast because that's where most of the permits are coming in from, is the Northeast part of Polk County. And they'll have every elected official representative there, and they will have a courtroom with 2 courtrooms, and they will have, you can take your driver's license out back. They have a testing center on that site. So, and it's in Lake Alfred, but has a Haines City address. So it's, yeah, it's sort of right on the line or close to the line there. I guess the post office gives them that address. So the Haines City Post Office, I guess. So anyway, I also attended the viewing and the services of JP, and I can only hope that they would say all those nice things about JP about me when I leave. So,
Are you sure about that?
Not some of it. But JP was very well liked by everybody that he met, and he had that caring attitude, and so we all will miss him. So that's all I have. So,
Mayor Pro Tem Birdsong.
I also attended the services for JP, and I've had the honor of serving with JP his entire career on this commission, and he was the most friendliest person I've ever had up here. Not that you all are not friendly, but he was very special. Attended some of the City Works. Heard T. Michaels and trying to sing some of the old hits of Out of the Dairy Down. No, you were good. You were good. You were good.
She's something about friendly.
Actually signed the well, let me back up before I state that. We had the water cooperative meeting, and that funding for the water cooperative has finally been brought in for a landing, and it's a lot of money, you all. And the projects are progressing, and basically they're saying that we have to do this. And so to that extent, I'm the secretary to the Water Cooperative Board, and I had the privilege of signing a $135 million loan. I've never put my name on a $135 million note before, but that's a big one, and that's only about a third of what's ultimately going to be spent on the alternative water supply. And the good news about that is half of the money that's going to be spent is going to come from the South Florida Water Management District. So that's good. Also attended the MPOAC meeting, which is a transportation meeting that was in Orlando, and Secretary of Department of Transportation, Tebow, was there and had a chance to talk with him about, again, Central Polk Parkway, and they're all in on that. And so, that's just was great for us, but he attended our meeting and was our keynote speaker. Also attended the General Pension Board meeting, and third quarter results were a lot better than the previous quarters. So it's great, that smoothing technique that they have. Boy, I don't know what we would do without the smoothing technique, where you take 5 of the previous years and that's what you average to see exactly where you are as it relates to the liabilities. And so it was good to see that the market was up somewhat. And finally, and I don't know, T, I was looking at the committee assignments, but I had served with JP on the transportation disadvantage. And so that there needs to be a spot. I'm no longer on there because I was the former on there as a result of being the chairman of the TPO. And the TPO, after your 2 years there, then you chair the transportation disadvantages. So I served for 2 years there, and so I was replaced. So JP is our only representative on the transportation disadvantage.
Thank you, sir.
And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go quick. I gave a speech to the Winter Haven High School baseball team just before they lost. But be that as it may, quite a moving speech. No, they had a big, huge dinner for the whole team, and must have been 100 people there at the VFW. It was fun to go in there and relive tell some old stories and about back in the baseball back in the day. So have a good team, and they're still in it. They just have to travel from now on, so they don't have any home games. City Works gave an intro and had a nice dinner with all the speakers, and the one speaker you guys keep talking about, I had dinner with him, and he was quite entertaining and had interesting concepts of what he's talking about. Also went to the beer crawl, and that was just so crowded. Hats off to Main Street Winter Haven for doing those things every quarter, or how often they do it, and brings people everywhere downtown. Again, I was going to talk about the CFAA, the Winter Haven Airport ribbon cutting. What a big deal that is. So proud of the people that pulled that off, and partnership with City of Winter Haven and school board and everybody else. Had a Theater Winter Haven golf tournament that I played in, and TDC meeting that we had. There was an honor flight that came into Lakeland. I drove over there. It was supposed to start at 5:30, and we got notice they weren't going to be there till 9. So I ended up leaving. I was going to go eat and come back. It started raining, but I hope that they finally made it. But they got really delayed because of the flight. Gave a speech to the Garden Club when they opened when they had an event over there. Also just gave greetings to the first junior leadership class. This is, I think, Winter Haven High School with most of them, but this is class number 1 for the junior leadership class that the chamber puts on. Just over here at the Dairy Down. I know Brian was there and some others. And finally, I wanted to, I threw some shade on one of our employees not too long ago about her not calling her father enough, but I want to give some redemption to Julie. I go up to the field house and work out, and I didn't even know about this, but there was a physical readiness program that I guess you put that on. I thought, I'm giving you credit.
HR, it's your human resources department.
Resources, but this was something that they were doing at the field house, and I just happened to walk in on it. I didn't even know about it. But if you were age 60 and you ran and you walked 1.5 miles in under 17 minutes and 44, you got 3 days off. Of
That's if you ran it.
You
had to run that.
I walk it 49. Anyway, everybody in the whole city was up there, or a lot of people were up there walking and running, and Julie was cheering them all on, and everybody was just having, Charlie was there, everybody was up there just having a great time. And I thought, what a great idea to get people to exercise and to have fun and to, you know, build camaraderie and build a team. And it just looked like everybody was having so much fun and they didn't know I wasn't signed up, but I was up there doing my walk and they're cheering me on. I'm like, I'm not in the group. You don't have to cheer me on because I'm going to make it regardless. But it was so funny. And so just kudos to whoever put that together because I thought that was an excellent program. So
Mr. Mayor, let me just offer a comment on that if I could. That is actually the first program or initiative that came out of our Bright Ideas
yeah,
internal innovation program is a means to encourage a healthier workforce and lower our overall healthcare costs.
yeah.
That came from Debbie Tate within our finance department. It submitted that about a year ago and was vetted out through the process, and it was just launched this May. And I don't know how many people we had participate, but certainly the day that they did the walking, there was a great number of folks out there on, that would have been Tuesday of last week, and Wednesday was the running portion of it. But it shows a commitment of our workers to try and get healthy and take better care of themselves and reduce our overall operational costs as a result.
Well, it was working because a lot of people were sweating and having a good time too.
I understand that the high school baseball team has asked Julie to come out and speak at their awards banquet next year.
Well, they got a long road ahead of them. Maybe they'll help. So, all right, City Attorney, you got anything?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Commission. Just wanted to report on the special election to address the vacancy of the City Commission seat number 5 held by JP Powell, as we've all mentioned, and unfortunately passed away. And there's about 2 years left remaining on his term. We've been apprised by the supervisor of elections that she can make her registration books and the supervisor's registration books available for a special election to be held in conjunction with our regular municipal election on November 7th of 2023. State law section 100.151 of the Florida statutes requires that before municipality holds a special election, that it obtains the consent of the supervisor of elections for the county in which we sit. So the city clerk reached out to Ms. Edwards, and in conjunction with our charter and the state law, we have been apprised of that. So I will be preparing a resolution for your consideration at your next meeting, likely, that will encapsulate that and will then give direction to the city clerk to do the appropriate things to advertise and make public notice, et cetera, on the special election to fill the remaining term left for seat 5 for JP Powell.
John, 2 questions. What's the date again?
It'll be the same date as our regular election, which is Tuesday, November 7, 2023.
And what if there's no majority? Is it winner take all, or is there going to be runoffs potentially?
It'll be runoff. It's just like any election.
So there wouldn't be one before November 7th.
No, it'll be November 7th, and then the runoff will be in December, just like just like a regular municipal election.
Okay,
And the majority, of course, is 50% plus 1
sure.
would need to obtain the requisite.
Okay,
And other than that, I don't have anything else to report this evening. Thank you.
okay. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple items. So first off, we mentioned the city commission liaison appointments. So the areas that are vacant as a result of the passing of Commissioner JP Powell, the Airport Advisory Committee needs to have a liaison designated to that group. Certainly he was a member of the CRA, which all commissioners are. I think that one is fine to continue as it is. The other ones would be the Polk Transit Authority that is working with Tom Phillips. I do not have a frequency of their meetings at this point. We have reached out to Mr. Phillips. Latanya has. As soon as we get that, we can give some more insights on it. The Ridge League of Cities, Commissioner Yates was designated as the alternate there. So, you know, if there's an interest in just elevating to the permanent role and designating a separate alternate if need be. And then the last one is the Transportation Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board. That one, I can tell you, has 3 meetings left this year. They will meet on June 12th, September 25th, and December 11th. They meet at 1:30 in the Board of County Commissioners boardroom. So at this point, what I would ask the commission to do is we can either take action on this evening, or if you want time to consider it, I'm looking for a designee to the Airport Advisory Committee, the Polk Transit Authority, and the Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board. and then some direction on what to do with the Ridgely.
I'll take the full transit and the disadvantage. I'll put those two.
Thank you, Commissioner Birdsong.
I'll do the airport advisory. I haven't done that, but I'll learn.
Okay.
They do the Ridgely.
I'll elevate to the #1 spot on Ridgely.
So Commissioner, all in agreement with that? We can post that. The other item, just as a reminder. Wednesday, Commissioner Yates, Mayor Pro Tem Birdsong, myself, and Communications Public Affairs Director Katrina Hill will travel to Washington, DC to advocate for some projects specific to our infrastructure here in Winter Haven. During that time, we'll have an opportunity to meet with Congressman Franklin and other congressional leaders, specifically from the Polk County area, to really speak to the growth that we're seeing here and to advocate for their continued support for infrastructure dollars to come back specifically to our local communities. We'll also be meeting with the Environmental Protection Agency for some of our efforts to fund major capital investments, very similar to what Commissioner or Mayor Pro Tem Birdsong was speaking of. These projects are getting more and more expensive, and we certainly need some federal assistance in making those things happen. We will report back on that at our earliest convenience, perhaps the next commission meeting. I'm sure the commissioners will have updates on those meetings. The legislative session closed Friday of last week. So there is certainly a lot that can still happen. Bills are being presented to the governor's office. I understand that he signed several today. The budget will be one of those bills that goes forward. There are a lot of appropriation packages within the budget, and it is still subject to any vetoes that he may feel are appropriate. So we will watch that closely. I do know that the chamber has a legislative wrap-up session coming up soon that I think some of you are registered for. We are also awaiting a session and summary document from the Florida League of Cities that will highlight all the bills that have been signed and passed and that have a direct impact to our local governments here in Florida. So as soon as we get that information, we will certainly share it.
Okay,
That's all.
all right. Deputy City Clerk, Deputy City Clerk. Emergency matters not received the agenda. Motion to adjourn. So move.